Hello there, a very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. We're coming to you live and direct as always from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Before we take a look at your stories in detail, here are your top stories for this afternoon.
Low-risk COVID-19 patients to be treated from their homes from Monday. Convener of the Inter-University Students' Federation arrested at dawn. Opposition questions the legality of officers in civil attire making arrests.
T-shirt එකක් ඇඳගෙන බස් වලට පැනලා චෙක් කර කර කවුද කියලා ඇහුවට කියන්නේ නැහැ හැඳුනුම් පතක් පෙන්වන්න කිව්වට පෙන්වන්නේ නැහැ ඉතින් මෙහෙම සංස්කෘතිය තමුන්නාන්ස හදන්නේ කොහොමද?
United States working to give additional COVID-19 booster shots.
In a look at those stories in detail. Now, the convener of the Inter-University Students' Federation, Vasantha Mudalige, who was arrested at dawn, is to be produced before the Kadwela Magistrates Court this afternoon. Vasantha Mudalige was arrested at around 3 this morning in Borupuna, Ratmalana while travelling in a three-wheeler. He was arrested at a checkpoint set up 200 meters away from the 4th Engineering Services Regiment camp of the Sri Lanka Army in Ratmalana.
නිසා කරුණාකරලා මේ ගලවන්න අධිකරණ කරුණු වාර්තා කරලා ඔබතුමා මට උසාවි නියෝගයක් වෙන්න අත්තරංගුවට ගන්න කරුණු වාර්තා කරලා දෙන්නේ ඔබතුමා උසාවි නියෝගයක් වෙන්නන්න මාව අත්තරංගුවට ගන්න කොහේ උසාවියෙන්ද කියලා තියෙන්නේ සංඥා වරදක් කොහේ උසාවියෙන්ද කියලා තියෙන්නේ කොහේ උසාවියෙන්ද කියලා තියෙන්නේ වරදට මහත්තයෝ කොහේ උසාවියෙන්ද කියලා තියෙන්නේ අත්තරංගුවට ගන්න කියලා අත්තරංගුවට ගන්න උසාවි වර්ග අවශ්‍ය නැහැ කොහේ උසාවියෙන්ද කියලා තියෙන්නේ සංඥා වරදට මොකද්ද වරද කියන්නේ උද්ඝෝෂණය කරපු එකද උද්ඝෝෂණය කරපු එකද වරද අධ්‍යාපන අයිතිය විකුණන්න එපා කියලා උද්ඝෝෂණය කරපු එකද වරද ඒකද වරද කෑ ගහන්න එපා ඒකද වරද කෑ ගහන්න එපා ප්‍රශ්නේ කියන්නේ ප්‍රශ්න දැන් මට අයිතියක් තියෙනවනේ දැනගන්නයි මං අත්තරංගුවටපත් වෙන්නේ කියලා මහත්තයෝ මං කිව්වනේ වරද ඔබතුමා ගිහලා නිලධාරියා ගන්න මම කතා කරන්න ඔබතුමා ගිහලා නිලධාරියා ගන්න මම කතා කරන්න මට හේතුව දැනගන්න පුළුවන්ද හේතුව තමයි ඔයා රාජ්‍ය දේපල වලට අනර්ථය කරා ඉදි කියලා විනාශ කරා ඔබතුමා ළඟ උසාවි නියෝගයක් තියෙනවද උසාවි නියෝගයක් තියෙනවා අධිකරණයට කඩු වාර්තා කරලා තියෙනවා ඔය එන්න අපිට කරදර කරන්න එපා එන්න කරදර කරන්න එපා අපිට මේ කරදර කරන්න එපා මේක පාරේ වාහනයක යනකොට පාරේ වාහනයකට යනකොට කරදර කරන්න එපා අපිට හරිද මෙහෙන් පැහැරගෙන යන්නේ නෑ පැහැරගෙන යන්නේ අපි පැහැර ගැනීමක් කොහෙද තියෙන්නේ පැහැර ගැනීමක් නෑ කිසිම පැහැර ගැනීමක් නෑ මොකද පැහැර ගැනීම කිසිම පැහැර ගැනීමක් නෑ වීඩියෝ එකක් අතරම් කොට ගැනීම
පාර්ලිමේන්තුව අසලදී උද්ඝෝෂණ ව්‍යාපාරයක් පැවැත්වුණා. මේ උද්ඝෝෂණයේදී මහරගම පොලිසියේ ස්ථානාධිපති ප්‍රධාන පොලිස් පරීක්ෂක ජනකාන්ත.
A protest was held opposite the parliament. During this protest, the OIC of the Maharagama Police, Chief Inspector Janakanta, sustained critical injuries to his fingers. Further, public property has been seriously damaged. 5 suspects were arrested in connection to the incident yesterday, including a person named Vasantha Kumara, who has been named as the convener of the Inter-University Students' Federation. 3 people have breached quarantine regulations by transporting people in vans for this protest.
Meanwhile, Amila Sandeepa, who is the chairman of the Sri Jayawardhanapura University Students' Federation, was arrested last night. Police said he was arrested on charges of mischief, unlawful assembly and injuring a police officer on duty. The suspect will be produced before the Kadwela Magistrates Court today.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Sajid Premadasa visited the Thalangama police this morning in order to meet 5 arrested individuals, including the convener of the Inter-University Students Federation, Wasantha Muddalige, and president of the Jayawardhanapura University Students Union, Amila Sandeepa.
We can see that the present government is treating protesters in a suppressive manner while disrupting democracy. It is tragic. We hope to counter the attacks on democracy through the democratic process.
Meanwhile, in Parliament today, the opposition questioned as to how unarmed individuals were arrested by police officers clad in civil attire.
After those teachers were arrested, all of them were permitted 2 attorneys to visit them that very night. Also, I gave special instructions to the police to look into their needs as they are teachers. I also instructed the police to hand over any items given to them at the gate. But Nalin Bandara acted in front of the media by carrying a bag of goods. If he wanted to go inside, he could have gotten permission from the Ports Authority and gone inside. If they wanted to hand over any items, they could have left them at the gate. There are 17 women, but only 1 bag of goods. 1 bag was brought for one of his friends. I challenged Nalin Bandara to prove that I took clothes for that woman, or if a person related to me took clothes for her. If he proves that, I will resign from my ministerial portfolio tomorrow. Who you handed over clothes to is not a big issue. You spoke about these teachers' issues. After they staged the protest and while they were on their way back home, they were arrested by various police stations. I would like to ask you as to why all these teachers who were arrested by various police stations were brought to the harbour police premises. That is a massive issue. Because when someone is arrested by officers attached to a certain police station, they are held at that particular police station. Also, these are people who are on their way back home after staging a protest. They are not even the organizers of the protest. So this shows how you have intentionally planned to arrest these teachers. Also, yesterday you saw how these university students were arrested. I would like to know, Honorable Speaker, can officers wearing t-shirts get into buses and start checking the people and make arrests? I know that yesterday they attempted to arrest Aminda Lakmal, who is a lecturer at the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. He was arrested by the police. These officers were not in official attire. They were simply wearing a t-shirt and had arrested these people after boarding a bus. Also, another student of the Sri Jayawardhanapura University was arrested in a similar manner. They were dressed in civil attire and arrested these people and took them away in a white van. What if, tomorrow, Honorable Speaker, if an underworld gang clad in t-shirts starts abducting people on the street? You are not acting like a legitimate government. You are acting like a renegade police. Therefore, I would like to ask you to stop this. You too would have seen how they were dressed in various clothes. I don't believe that even if you are in favor of this, by the way you are nodding your head. Even the minister does not agree to this. They are dressed in t-shirts and board buses and search for people. When they were asked to show some sort of identification, they refused to do so. How can you create a culture of this manner? As the Minister of Public Security, I have never influenced the actions of the police. If there are questions pertaining to them, pose them in an official manner. I will answer them. Yesterday, a group of lecturers, including the president of FUTA, had been stopped on the middle of the road. They then proceeded to arrest them. This is not the rule of law. This is unlawful.
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි ඇත මේ ඔය කුරුදුවත්ත පොලිසියෙන් අත්අඩංගුවට කොට ගැනීම පිළිබඳ විපක්ෂ නායකතුමත් මට කතා කළා.
Both the opposition leader and parliamentarian Mujbar Rahman spoke to me regarding this. I want to reiterate this fact. We have not influenced the police. I inquired into those arrests from the IGP. That report will be directed to me today.
අපි අත්අඩංගුවට ගැනීම පිළිබඳව
I'm sorry, you. පැය 48ක් එතන හිටියා. ඒ නිසා ඔබතුමාට මේක රිදුනා.
They were held for 48 hours. Teachers and any other citizen must be treated equally. He made a challenge and said he will resign from his position. You are rendering a great service, at least to a certain segment of society. I will, however, present the voice recording of Pumi Hansamali at the next sitting. She is the one who thanked you.
Moving on to the current spread of the COVID-19 pandemic here in Sri Lanka. Now, as you all know, the COVID-19 pandemic, the threat posed by the COVID-19 pandemic in Sri Lanka is still very real, and it keeps growing with every passing day. A brand new study has shown that the Delta variant of COVID-19 has turned up positive in 75% of random samples tested in Colombo.
The exponential increase was shown in samples taken during the last week of July and analyzed by the Department of Immunology and Molecular Medicine at the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. Dr. Chaminda Jeevandara, the head of the department, told Newsfirst that random samples obtained in the first week of July showed that around 19.3% of the samples tested were of the Delta variant. However, by the end of the month, that rate had gone up to 75%. He added that his department was now in the process of analyzing samples obtained from other regions in Sri Lanka in order to assess the overall nationwide frequency of the variant. The report with its findings is expected to be handed to the Director General of Health today.
Taking a back at the local situation of the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, in measures that have been announced to curb the spread of the Delta variant, Minister of Health Pavitra Vanyarachchi announced that the integrated home-based isolation and management of asymptomatic and mild symptomatic COVID-19 patients that is currently being conducted as a pilot project in the Western Province will be implemented island-wide from next Monday.
Authorities expect to get the support of members of the Government Medical Officers Association, retired doctors as well as nursing staff to implement this program. Plans have been made to assign 200 expectant doctors to monitor integrated home-based isolation and management of asymptomatic and mild symptomatic COVID-19 patients.
COVID-19 patients are currently being treated at home in the Western Province. Doctors are directly involved in this process. Starting from next week, we hope to conduct this program across the island. Doctors will directly contribute to this effort. We know that pregnant doctors are currently at their homes, and we have made facilities available for these doctors to contact COVID-19 patients who are receiving treatment at home directly.
Home quarantine.
The Director General of Health Services has issued a set of guidelines for those undergoing home quarantine. The use of home quarantine has increased as hospitals have reached full capacity in a number of areas due to the rapid spread of the Delta variant of COVID-19. Yesterday, the 5th of August, Sri Lanka saw the highest number of COVID-19 deaths reported in the country in a single day. 94 deaths were confirmed yesterday. This increased the COVID-19 death toll in Sri Lanka to 4,821. The total number of COVID-19 infections in the country increased to 321,492. With the rapid spread of the Delta variant, the general public have been urged to obtain the vaccine at the earliest possible instance.
There is an increase in the number of new cases being detected in the island. The percentage of COVID-19 patients being identified in the island has increased. There is also an increase in the number of COVID-19 patients who need oxygen. We are expanding the vaccination drive in the country. The only limiting factor in expanding this process is the fluctuating rate at which we receive vaccine doses. Meanwhile, steps have been taken to direct certain patients identified in the Western Province to a home-based isolation system.
A delay of a day or two occurred for those who are awaiting the second dose of the vaccine. There is no issue in that, but there was a delay in the delivery of vaccines from China. If there are state workers aged between 18 and 30 who have not been vaccinated, we will prioritize their inoculation. Additionally, we can direct the vaccines sent from China to inoculate people on a district level.
Another 2 million doses of the Sinopharm vaccine were brought to the island today. The doses were brought down to the island on board 2 Sri Lankan airline flights.
The United Nations is concerned about situations where COVID-19 vaccines have gone unused. A UN spokesperson stressed yesterday that the world body can only help get doses into arms at the request of governments.
According to the data from UNICEF, the COVAX vaccine sharing program has so far delivered 186.2 million doses to 138 countries. COVAX aims to secure 2 billion doses for lower and middle income countries by the end of 2021. COVAX is run by the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, the World Health Organization, and the UNICEF. A UN spokesperson said the United Nations was ready to help countries with vaccine distribution, such as transportation, cold chain distribution, and combating vaccine hesitancy.
Still in local news, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa called on the newly appointed Mahanayaka of the Sri Lanka Amarapura sect, Agamaha Pandita, Most Venerable Dodampahala Chandasiri Thera, last evening. The protest march staged by the Association of Education Professionals in Kandy demanding a solution to their salary anomalies of teachers and principals entered its third day today.
The protest march, which began from Kandy on the 4th, proceeded from Mawanalla to Nidahas Mawata in Kegol yesterday. The march commenced from Galigamuwa today. We say to all the factions who are trying to influence our movement, we will not stop our struggle until we achieve what we want.
Multiple protests were held across the island demanding authorities to resolve salary anomalies of teachers and principals.
A demonstration organized by the Parents Collective Organization in support of the Guru Savya in Gampaha was held at the Minuangoda town today. Another protest demanding the resolution of teachers' and principals' salary anomalies was held in Anuradhapura. Yet another demonstration was held in Pitabadara this morning, urging authorities to provide a solution to salary anomalies.
Nine suspects who were arrested for assaulting the mayor of the Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte Municipal Council, IMV Premalal, have been remanded until the 9th of August. The mayor of the Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte Municipal Council, who sustained injuries during an assault in Kotte earlier this week, is currently receiving treatment at a private hospital. A group of people who arrived at the Kurunegala branch of the National Transport Medical Institute at 3 a.m. today to receive their medical certificates were severely inconvenienced.
More than 300 people had arrived at the Kurunegala National Transport Medical Institute from areas such as Chilau, Galgamuwa, Mahawa Bingiria. However, the group was informed that the numbers for the medical certificates will not be issued. It was further noted that numbers will be issued online. The group pointed out that they were severely inconvenienced due to this issue. I came from Bingiria and was here since 12. After coming this far, this security guard is telling me that they are only giving these certificates to those who got a number online. He asked us to leave and not to stand in line. Later, the Kurunegala police officers who arrived at the location contacted the heads of the institution, and the officer in charge arrived at the scene around 8 in the morning. She said that steps will be taken to issue medical certificates to those who arrived today.
And that's a wrap of lunchtime news on TV1 for this afternoon. But do remember, with the rapid spread of the Delta variant of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country, it is imperative that you take the necessary measures to protect yourself, your loved ones, and the community at large. Stay at home, stay safe, follow health guidelines, and God bless.